I will learn to strike. I will learn to fly. I will learn to kill. I don't learn to die.
I finally got to a game I've been wanting to play, Yaga, which I believe is also on PS4, maybe Xbone. But for sure, I'm playing it on Switch, and it is on PC, I believe. It's a really cool... So it takes a lot of... I don't want to be insensitive to what region it takes place in. It's some European, like Eastern European region. I don't know exactly where. But
Yugoslavia.
The game's called Yaga, and then you have the Baba Yaga in there. So I'm trying to... Baba Yaga is actually a character in there, so I'm trying to think of...
It's
just John Wick.
Russian,
It's just John Wick.
Slovenia, shit like that.
Okay, yeah. So you're kind of like, but you're in medieval times, and you play as this cool, basically, and you play as this blacksmith who, the main mechanic that makes it interesting. It's a role playing game with action mechanics. You have 2 attacks. You have a regular swing, and then you also have a little like Thor, throw your hammer and have it come back type of deal, which is really cool. And the blacksmith's hammer is your main thing because you are a blacksmith. Mm-hmm. You lose your arm at the very beginning. It's part of the narrative. Basically he has a curse put upon him, and the king is told that this blacksmith is hella cursed. You need him away from the village. Period. But the king also didn't want to like piss off the cursed one, obviously. So he tells you need to go do this bullshit task that I don't want to spoil. It's not really a big spoiler. It's the first mission you get, but he tells you to do this task basically as a fucking bullshit errand boy task to send you away. And you're not supposed to come back.
Right.
And then you kind of accomplish it, and he's kind of like, well,
this is awkward.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes on from there. It's very interesting. So you have a stamina gauge. As long as the stamina gauge, which kind of works, it's almost like in your RPGs where actions do obviously use stamina, it also doubles as your shield, like your Halo shield. If your stamina's up, that's what takes damage, and your health won't get hit yet. When your stamina's depleted, then your health starts to go down, and that doesn't just auto-regen. You have to use potions to get it back up, or bread in this case, which is really interesting to see it be a stamina/shield bar. It's almost like the shield from Halo, if doing actions in Halo also could take from it, which is interesting. And then on top of that, you're also trying to manage, because the whole thing is based on luck, like the whole narrative is your bad luck, you're also trying to manage that, because using blessings or magic increases your bad luck. And when that gets too high, this like demon thing comes and fucks up all your gear and everything. Cool. So there's all these interesting mechanics. I'll tell you, so it takes your typical RPG in said European thing that could sound like a generic game, and then adds things like the bad luck mechanic and stuff like that, because you got to balance that. You're like, I could really use this blessing, will be so useful in this battle, especially if I go against the boss, but my bad luck will go up, and if I lose my gear, that'll be even fucking more tragic. So I'm gonna make this level tougher to, you know what I mean? And then when you go out on missions and stuff like that, you get to choose the conditions of when you're going out. Oh, and everything rhymes too. Everything's like written like a poem style. So all the lines rhyme and everything. It's really cute and everything in that sense. And it's got a really cool, like, rustic European, again, Eastern European aesthetic to it. And, like, the beasts and everything, like the talking trees. Like, it's just all this really cool, like, stuff. And they do a cool job. But what they do to keep it fresh is, like, the soundtrack is a mix. It's like gypsy hip-hop. So like you got like these stringed, like, very eerie sounding gypsy things, but with like a hip hop drum beat in the background, kind of like that is dynamic to the combat. So when your combat starts, it kind of has a cool battle theme and everything. There's a boss theme.
Eastern
it's
European
really interesting.
chill-hop.
Basically, it's kind of like that, and the soundtrack is really addicting.
I believe they called it Jip Hop.
Jip Hop, there you go. I hope that's not a
that
racial
PC?
thing.
I was like, is that PC? Can we say that?
But if it's not, then that's fine. And then, so basically, when you go out to do each mission, because you kind of like, the town is like your hub, it's your citadel or whatever. Yeah. When you go head out, these witches and Baba Yaga are always watching your fate, because that's like the main thing, you know. Baba Yaga has a lot to do with your fate, and then there's these 3 witches that advise her. Yeah. And so when you go out, you get to choose the conditions of the the dungeon you're about to do. So it'll say, do you go in the middle of the night where it'll be harder to see but your enemies are weaker, or do you want to go during the afternoon where the enemies will be normal health but you'll move a little bit faster, or do you want to go in the morning where your health will be up? I'm just making up these conditions, but just to give you an idea. Okay. Or do you want to go during the morning where your health will be up but the enemies will be stronger, like, you know what I mean? And then you get to choose on that, and it's just really awesome. Like the whole aesthetic, making it a little bit modern with a little hip hop thing, as well as a very cool cartoony vibes mixed together. All around great package. Like $25, absolutely worth it. Just came out at the end of last year on Switch. I believe earlier last year for everything else. But again, on PS4 and everything, so definitely worth checking out. The only thing I'll give it on Switch, and I would have to say this is probably a Switch exclusive problem, is there's a bit of slowdown sometimes. Like I'll be in the middle of a battle and it'll hiccup, and then like the frame will skip, and that can be detrimental sometimes. As you can imagine, frame skipping in a game is probably not good, obviously. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when it gets a little too busy, if there's like 5 enemies attacking you at the same time, and then like I'll swing and then it'll like second of pause and then move on, and then I'll be across the map bar and I'm like, uh-oh, that could have been really bad for me. That's the only thing I'll say. I think it's a Switch problem with RAM and everything because the game runs really smooth. Other than that, it's running like at a very smooth 60 frames. Looks really cool. But again, that's the only flaw so far is just that hiccup. But other than that, the challenge is nice. It's a good mix of everything. There's a crafting mechanic, and then there's 2 types of currencies. You have Copex, which may be a real currency, I don't know, but your little gold doubloons or whatever. And then you have that, and then you also have your little bones and animal. You collect like animal remains and stuff like that. And you can only buy certain things, usually magic related, with the bones and stuff as currency. Or then you buy regular items like your ore and stuff you craft with the regular money. So when you're buying magic bullshit, you use body parts and shit like that because you can imagine that's what they're using. And when you're buying more tangible stuff, you're using gold. So that's really cool.